Better Life Media, America's leading source for life improvement, presents Stephen Covey. The 8th Habit, from effectiveness to greatness.
It was a dark and stormy night. Captain, wake up. Oh, what is it? Sorry to waken you, sir, but we have a serious problem. Well, what is it? There's a ship in our sea lane about 20 miles away, and they refuse to move. Tell them to move. Sir, we have. They won't move. I'll tell them. Signal goes out. Move starboard 20 degrees at once. The signal returns. Move starboard yourself 20 degrees at once. I can't believe this. I mean, I'm a captain. Let them know who I am. I am important. Signal goes out. This is Captain Horatio Hornblower, the 26th, commanding you to move starboard 20 degrees at once. Signal returns. This is Seaman Carl Jones, the 3rd, commanding you to move starboard 20 degrees at once. What arrogance. Who is this joker? I mean, we're a battleship. We could just blow them. Let them know who we are. Signal goes out. This is the mighty Missouri, flagship of the 7th Fleet. The signal returns. This is the lighthouse. That's a true story, by the way. It's found in the Naval Proceedings Manual, where they literally interpreted a lighthouse to be a ship. But I like the story because it helps me introduce this subject, that there are laws of nature or lighthouse principles that govern life. We think we govern it. We may let our values govern our behavior, but the consequences of that behavior is governed by those lighthouse principles. One of which is that there are 4 parts to our nature: our body, our mind, our heart, and our spirit. And that all 4 parts represent 4 capabilities, 4 needs, 4 intelligences, 4 dimensions that need to be honored and respected and integrated and put into a synergistic whole. In doing so, it can help a person find his or her voice and also inspire others to find his or her voice. Voice is when your talent and your passion, you know, what you're good at and what you love doing, overlaps what the world needs. What can drive your economic engine? Or if you're in a not-for-profit, what adds value? What contributes? As driven by conscience, body, mind, heart, and spirit. All 4 integrated together. Now, we need to look at what is it that enables us to discover, to find our voice. But let me tell you 5 things that do not. These are what I call the 5 metastasizing emotional cancers. And if you get involved in these 5 things, I will guarantee you it will create such static and such compartmentalization inside your nature. you will never really find your voice. The attitude and spirit of criticism, of comparing, of complaining, of competing for a sense of your own worth, and of contending. That is a mean-spirit kind of argument, kind of a contention. These are 5 metastasizing cancers. Criticizing, complaining, comparing, competing, not in a basketball game or in the marketplace, but competing for a sense of personal worth, and then contending. The spirit of contention. Now, if you want to see how serious this problem is, watch the raise of hands right here in this group of many, many hundreds of people. Think carefully about this question. How many seriously believe that the vast majority of the workforce in your organizations possess more talent, more capability, more creativity, etc., than their present jobs require or even allow them to use? How many agree? Now look around. Look around. That's literally almost every hand. And the finding that we have all around the world, a profound alienation, disempowerment of the workforce in organizations. People have not found their voice. There is no passion, which necessitates external motivation, supervision, psych up, hovering over, check up. The whole panoply of techniques used by the industrial age. Now, how many also feel a lot of pressure to produce more for less? Look, same hands. Now just put those questions side by side. I mean, just look at those 2 questions. Here's all this capability, this talent, this capacity, and this tremendous need to produce, and we can't even use it. Okay, let's look at how we develop our voice and how we inspire others to find their voices and to use them in the new knowledge economy. This is what I call the 8th habit. It builds upon the other 7, but it is like the 3rd dimension to the other 7. Find your voice and inspire others to find theirs. Okay, let's go back to nature. These are birth gifts. There are 3 of them, basically. They're right into our DNA. Here's a listing of them. First, our freedom and power to choose. Second, principles that are universal. That means they apply everywhere. I've taught them in 60 different countries all around this world. Timeless, they never change, and self-evident. Here is an illustration of a self-evident principle. You can never really sustain a trust in a relationship if you are not trustworthy. Have you ever tried to talk yourself out of a problem you behaved yourself into? How did it go? Have you ever seen a company try to PR itself out of a problem it behaved itself into? How did that go? See, these are universal, self-evident principles, non-controversial. And third, 4 parts to our nature, 4 intelligences, 4 capacities: body, mind, heart, and spirit. These are hardwired into our very nature. IQ, that's for the mind. EQ, that is emotional, social intelligence. That comes from self-awareness, and it also comes from awareness of others, the ability to listen, to care, to empathize, to relate. These are social skills. PQ is the intelligence of the body. 70 trillion cells that have such brilliance that right now they're digesting your lunch and you're doing nothing about it. They're fighting disease. They're trying to do everything they can to protect your organism. It's absolutely a brilliant machine. Nothing like it ever created by man. And then finally, SQ, spiritual intelligence, which basically deals with two things. One, the need to serve, the need for meaning, the need for significance, the need for contribution, the need to add value. And two, that you live by your conscience, that you live by these principles, these universal, timeless principles, and have connection to their ultimate source. Those two represent what is called spiritual intelligence. Let's contrast those last three intelligences. In fact, the first two and the last one. Here is a quote on spiritual intelligence. Unlike IQ, which computers have, and EQ, which exists in higher mammals, SQ is uniquely human and the most fundamental of the three. It is linked to humanity's need for meaning, an issue very much at the forefront of people's minds. SQ is what we use to develop our longing and capacity for meaning, vision, and value. It allows us to dream and to strive. It underlies the things we believe in and the role our beliefs and values play in the actions we take. It is, in essence, what makes us human. It used to be fringy, no longer. Major research on spiritual intelligence has brought it into mainstream to understand that a whole person has four basic needs: to live for the body, to love for the heart, that's relationships, to learn for the mind, and to leave a legacy, to matter, to contribute. This is what a whole person in a whole job does. This is enabling them to find their voice in their job. Same basic underlying four dimensions: body, mind, heart, and spirit. For the mind, use me creatively. For the body, pay me fairly. For the heart, treat me kindly. And for the spirit, in serving human needs in principled ways. Now notice the two aspects there. Meaningfulness, we have a deep hunger for meaning. The why behind the what and the how. He who has a why can live with any what and how. And to live with integrity. To live by one's conscience. Now, each one of those need to be cultivated and developed. Body, mind, heart, and spirit. You basically know some of the principles of developing the body, mind, heart, and spirit. How to keep the body healthy, strong. The mind alive, alert, learning, turning much of the television completely off, getting back to books. Learn, deepen your knowledge in broad fields, outside your own comfort zone. Learning to rebuild relationships that you care a lot about, that are wounded. That takes tremendous emotional power and spiritual power. You care about those people. And to constantly make contributions, to give back. Service is the rent we pay for the privilege of living upon this earth. Those four are constant, deep hungers and needs in us all. Work on these four assumptions. They deal with the four parts of our nature. For the body, assume you've had a heart attack. Now live accordingly. For the heart, assume that everything you say about another person they can overhear. Now speak accordingly. Always be loyal to the absent if you want to retain the loyalty of those who are present.